Testing. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh. Even on the coldest day, I would get outside and shovel. When it's really minus. It was a terrible cold. But now thinking about how you get it. I mean, people working out, people walking in the same way. And that's the low. That's I don't know why. That's it's like having Send me awards. That's what I mean. You got to get blind. Don't shoot anyone until stab them. All right.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start making our way over by the main stage, so we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. So grab your drinks, get that last piece of pizza, and find a seat.
Position myself last, you know?
Oh, really?
Let all the good questions get.
Yeah. I don't think that's how it works.
What do you mean?
You're going to end up asking the first question.
How does that happen? I thought we started there.
Well, because we're all going to introduce ourselves, and then you're going to be left with the mic.
Oh, no. Hey. I'm going to grenade that mic right back to you. We have not.
Cheers to
I like
you.
it.
I like this.
What did you do here today?
I do. I mean, tall.
All right, everyone, I hope you've gotten your last slice of pizza and make your way towards the main area. We are getting started in a minute.
I invest in some startups. I have a couple local businesses, and I also have a startup called Moxie, which is a social travel app. I don't have any co-founders. I have a whole co-founding team that's all on there.
Hey, who's got Netflix on your phone when you put it up on the
Watching Netflix. Did you review these all ahead of time? Me neither.
Well, I skimmed through them. I did not do
The health one, I had no idea was one on the solutions.
Yeah, so there's I need explanation. So
The no code one had the best explanation. I just don't trust it.
which was no good.
Me neither.
Is there still code?
I think it's more like you just don't need to know.
We lost Peter.
Follow. Say Bueller.
No, I see you.
Right there. Jennifer, is that the front desk? What? Is that the front desk?
No, I know, I said I see you, but I was getting ready to start. Are you guys all checking the Tyson?
Reading
Yeah,
all
well, dude, Tyson needs to wipe the floor with everything.
I see, my thing is, everyone's like, it's gonna be, really
Put money on it?
And I'm like, if we're straight, I think Tyson. And
I think it is great, but I think the second we like this hit, it's gonna fucking lose it. It's gonna go live and it's gonna kill it.
I don't think so. I think Jake Paul is favored enough in Vegas that
Wait, they're not in Vegas.
Not Jake, the other one.
I'm talking about the line,
do you have?
the betting line.
No, I didn't have a chance to stop at all today.
Yeah, I put $1,000 on it.
1,000? Yeah, I wanted to stop at the ring one right here, but I didn't.
All right.
I might lose, we'll see.
And you got it. Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Great.
Okay, this is not that kind of party. This is a party where when I say good evening, everyone, how are you? You guys whoop and holler like you're at a big concert or the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. How is everybody? Here we go. My name is Jennifer. I'm with StartUp Vegas. I'm really excited that you're all here tonight. Please feel free to make your way into the middle area. We're really excited about our three presenters, and the more they can see you, the more positive feedback and energy they're going to get when they give their presentations. At least that's the working theory. So if it's your first time, Startup Vegas is a nonprofit organization that supports startups in the Las Vegas area. It's co-founded by Peter Tomasic and Heather Brown, who's over there on seat duty, I see. And so we're really excited because LevelUp has been going strong for 3 years, and we're going to continue this going strong all the way through this evening, right, everyone? Lucy Hub is one of our sponsors, and one of the ways we love to capture events is if you're taking photos or videos of this evening, you can also upload them to Lucy Hub, where we can produce some really great reels and other things for this event. So if you download that QR code, you can upload your photos and videos and share them with us. Also, just a quick announcement, we are partnering with HumanX for their conference, their AI conference happening March 10th through 30th in 2025 at the Fontainebleau. And they're the same people who brought you like Money 2020 and some other really amazing conferences. If you go to this QR code, we have a special discount for startup founders. It's significant. So if you want to go to this conference and you want to save a couple $1,000s, make sure you go to that code, register, and there's some really great events that they have set up for our founders. Another thing is next month, so this event, Level Up, we're going to do it as part of CES. So that means that we're going to be doing it at a different location and a different day of the week. So don't come here next Friday, come here Wednesday, go to the historic 5th Street School, and we'll have more information on that. It's from 5 to 7, and it's a Wednesday, January 8th. So we're really excited. We'll have some great panelists come in, we'll have some great pitching come in, and it's just really great to be part of that event. And I know it's not up here, but if you guys love coming to WeWork on Tuesday, we've got another event called Scale Up. So if you're building and looking to scale your business, come back here Tuesday at 6 o'clock with John Wilbur and crew, I'm sorry, John Emmons and crew with Project Wilbur, and we'll have that event there.
You like that? You like that?
We have 3 pitches today, and we know you guys are going to have lots of questions. And the way we do our Q&A is if you join our Slack community, if you're on our Slack community, go to the channel live event questions. If you need that QR code, you can do that there. And then we have someone moderating the Slack channel for us, so please ask lots of great questions. Even if they can't be answered live, our founders can go into the Slack channel and answer them for you later. All right, definitely have to thank our sponsors, without which we would not be here tonight. I'm just going to read a little bit about them. We work with Tech Edge developers, and they craft product market fit, effective go-to-market strategies, and provide invaluable guidance, empowering startups to beat the odds and thrive on the market. Lucy Hub, I mentioned earlier, their award-winning AI-powered video production platform, and we work with them to produce great videos, post-event videos. WeWork, which is the co-working space we're in right now. And of course, Project Wilbur, they work with us on many things, empowering business success. They help you attack your business challenges by providing customized solutions that are driven by research and data. And finally, we've got Sevens PR. They're a strategic communications agency, and they really help with brand movements. So, you guys ready to get excited for the presenters? Oh, but first, the most important thing, we have a great panel today, and I'm going to allow them to turn on their mics and introduce themselves. Here you go. We'll start with you, Peter.
All right, sure. Peter Tomasic. I've, in addition to being co-founder of Startup Vegas, I went to UNLV, studied computer science, raised over $100 million in venture in different companies that I've co-founded now. And I'm working on TensorWave, which is an AI cloud service provider, servicing the largest hyperscalers all the way down to startups trying to do deep work in AI. And I'm a GP in the seed fund. We're soon to be deploying some capital from 1864.fund is the URL. Thank you.
I'm John. I'm off. What's that? Can you guys hear me?
There you go.
All right, I'm John Evans. I am one of the founders of Project Wilbur. We work with family offices. We help do investments. Collectively, we've been a part of, like, I think 16 startups. 10 of them are mine. Exited 5 of them. There you go. So, and 5 of them were learning experiences. We work with startups, Fortune 500, doing software development, marketing, and consulting, making sure that everybody has all of their needs being met, as well as fundraising and investing. So there you go. Thanks.
Hey guys, my name's Faye. I just moved to Vegas 3 years ago from Toronto. And I've been in tech for about 12 years, mostly working at venture-backed startups, and then the last 4 years investing in early stage B2B SaaS startups at a fund called Forum Ventures. I'm currently a venture partner there. We do early stage, pre-seed, seed investing for B2B SaaS, especially fintech and supply chain and logistics.
Hi, my name is Michael DeLuca. I have a platform called Scared to Scale. We do business mixers here in Vegas, as well as I invest in early stage companies for advisory shares. And we then try to help in verticals that make sense. I'm a 2 times exited founder of a couple different platforms. I've got a couple local businesses, advertising, travel tech and concierge. We do over 100 million ARR. As well as I have a startup myself that's also raising capital and going through the same process everyone else is, called Otzi. So that's a little bit about me.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're really excited to have a great panel. And we're going to kick this party off. So the thing is, I want you to pay attention, have fun, make sure when our founders come to stage, give them a huge round of applause. It can be kind of scary and intimidating to be in front of all of you. But first up, this company is bringing military-grade security to business communications. Welcome, Ron Peters.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Peters. I'm CEO and founder of Daylight Vision. Platforms such as Teams and Slack, they all have the same problem. They're centralized and controlled by one vendor. That centralization has problems. You have a lack of data sovereignty options. You don't know exactly where your data lives, and you have no control over that. They also don't publish their security protocols. So you don't know, is your data actually secure? And lastly, you're at their mercy. Both Teams and Slack have multiple outages every year. And if they're down, you're down. The internet figured this out a long time ago. It's called decentralization. You have open protocols that you can deploy anywhere in the cloud or on premises. And because of that, you have full control of your data. You have the option to be able to fall back to another location if something goes down. And because the protocols are open, you have an entire planet of security professionals vetting these protocols. So you need a secure, decentralized team collaboration platform. And that's what we're bringing to you with Cypher. Cypher is the world's first decentralized, ultra-secure team collaboration platform that is all based on an open standard called messaging layer security. The end-to-end encryption, it's always on. You can't turn it off. It's the most advanced end-to-end encryption technology that's ever been invented. We got messaging, conferencing, project management, and unlike other platforms that offer end-to-end encryption, we also give you the things that enterprises need for compliance, such as e-discovery. The other platforms, once you turn on end-to-end encryption, you lose all the cool stuff. You lose AI, you lose call recording, you lose compliance features. You get that with us. And obviously, native and web apps, but more importantly, this is the most important thing, whether you're deployed on premises or in the cloud, whether you're doing it within your company, or you're communicating with third parties, that security protocol is guaranteed. Security isn't broken when you go across your enterprise boundaries. It's a huge market, $29 billion, growing at 9.5% per year. We are targeting companies that operate in regulated industries and also government and military. Our 5-year forecast is $44 million out of potential $4 billion of that obtainable market. Our business model is B2B and B2G SaaS. Per seat pricing is a tiered model. Unlike some other platforms, we actually give you some AI features on the free tier. And that's because we're using a small language model on the client. So it gives you the ability to run certain AI features on your client, which is on your computer itself, which also improves security because we're not sending that data to the cloud for processing. It's all processed locally. We believe this is a venture scale opportunity, getting to well over $100 million very quickly. However, we are a pre-product company, so this is a projection starting in 2015. We'll get into that. Our go-to-market strategy is B2B. We're going to start with security professionals and cybersecurity influencers who are going to get that product vetted and start making recommendations to the enterprises that they do business with. We're also starting to reach out to value-added resellers and integrators to start getting us into those enterprise markets. Government and military is a clear customer for something like this. We've already submitted one SBIR proposal, that's Small Business Innovation Research Grant. That money is great because it's non-dilutive. It's an outright grant from the government to pursue these technologies. And they specialize in technologies that have dual use applications, both commercial and military use. And as a Nevada company, we are taking advantage of all of the resources that the Battleborn State has to offer, including the Nevada Apex Accelerator, which is designed for companies like us, run by the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and UNR SAGE program. They're helping us with the second SBIR application, which is going to the Army. We're also dealing directly with the Air Force and Space Command. There's a lot of competition in the collaboration space, but end-to-end encryption is very, very hard. You can see it's easier to add features than to add security, and that's our technical model. Immediately, we're going after a subset of the industry, specifically people doing secure email. So Proton Mail, we're immediately going after. These are 40-year-old technology. We have obviously something that is much, much more secure, much newer, and also has features that they just don't have. I have 35 years of experience in this business. First half of my career was video protocols, MPEG 1, MPEG 2, MPEG 4. I'm big on open standards. And open standards can change entire industries. Just like MPEG did, messaging layer security is going to change business messaging for the future. We've raised $90K friends and family. We're using that money to release our first beta this month, get some initial traction, get some feedback, and next quarter, once we have some traction, we're going to open up a $500 million pre-seed to outside investors. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll have some questions from our panelists, and then in the meantime, if you do have questions, audience, make sure you put it in the live Slack.
Sure. So great presentation. I've got a couple of questions. One, I'm unclear exactly where is the product at the moment. You mentioned you were going to get to that.
You mean development-wise?
Correct, yeah.
Yes. So we're getting our first beta out this month, November.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sort of anytime I hear decentralized and I hear enterprise, it seems like that's not really the enterprise way. Anyone that's probably worked for a big company, they could probably barely get an email browser to open to a site that they want to go to. Or I know a lot of companies that they're on Teams and they won't even use Zoom. So how do you plan to, number one, build that trust to onboard those? Because I don't think a cybersecurity influencer is going to build that level of trust to get enterprise level contracts.
Yeah, we're going for the cybersecurity professionals, you know, the DEF CON, Black Hat crowd, more for the vetting process. There might be some referrals and things like that, but it's really to get some street cred for the product itself. The VARs and the integrators, I think, is how we're really going to get into the enterprise market. Also, the government, you know, if when and if we get some good government contracts, that's also going to be a lot of street cred for us as well. Regarding deployment, it's decentralized in the way that email is decentralized. It doesn't matter if you are running Exchange or Gmail. Have your email address, it just works. So it's decentralized in the sense that if they want to run a containerized version of our product on site, like they would Exchange, they can do that. If they want to use our cloud version, they can use that. But the important thing is, no matter whether they're communicating internally or they're communicating with third parties, that end-to-end encryption is maintained. So regardless of where it's deployed, it's always end-to-end encrypted.
Good, thank you.
Hey, I'm curious, how did you come up with this idea?
So we came up with an idea for a social networking platform. And then there's a cold start problem. So I said, what are we going to do to solve that? I came up with messaging. And I wrote myself this a white paper 5 years ago on what I wanted in a messaging platform. Then I realized the encryption protocol part of it was beyond what I was capable of doing. I put the paper away, and then a couple years later, I found out that the Internet Engineering Task Force was working to solve this problem. So I dusted it off, revisited the solution, pivoted away from consumer and went to enterprise, and took it to the logical conclusion. I worked on the implementing the actual standard. Standard was finalized last year. I implemented the standard, took me almost a year, and encryption was a pain. But it's all validated against the standards, and now we're building the applications and server layers on top of that cross-platform encryption layer. So that's the long version of how we came up with this.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer, because I was curious, like, is it a real problem? Like, how many people actually care that Slack isn't that secure? Like, frankly, I bet you any VC wouldn't. A lot of fintechs wouldn't, you know?
VCs maybe not, but 200 of Slack's customers picketed their headquarters last year, a grassroots movement called Make Slack Safe. Actually, you can go to makeslacksafe.com, I believe. Physically picketed their headquarters because they want end-to-end encryption, specifically end-to-end encryption implemented in Slack. And Slack has specifically said they just have zero intention of doing it, probably because it's so hard.
But who are the 200? Like, who are these people picketing for security?
I mean, I don't know them personally. But
Yeah, well, that's my question. Like, have you done a lot of customer discovery? Do you know a lot of people that are like, yes, we need this, we're on a wait list somewhere?
So there's a lot of CIOs, CISOs who understand the value of this tech, especially people that communicate with outside companies. So, you know, let's say you have Slack internally or Teams internally, but you want to communicate with your third-party vendors. You don't want to drop down to email to do that. You want to use the same secure platform everywhere. And that's what they're interested in.
So how much customer discovery have you done?
So over the last 6 months, talked to a lot of CTOs, a lot of CIOs. Some of them just hate Slack in general, hate Teams in general. Personally, I don't think I'm any more productive using these tools than I was 30 years ago, just using email and Excel. So we actually have we take some innovative productivity improvements in the product that I did get into in this presentation. So there's that as well. But they also really appreciate the end-to-end security aspect of this as well, and the ability to control deployment. Very large companies really appreciate that aspect.
Cool, awesome.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you're going to be launching this, I think, next month?
First week of this month. So
Okay. So what's Like, do you have beta customers that are lined up that want to test it? I mean, how many do you have on that list?
Yeah, so we have a few dozen on the list. Most of them are in the security space themselves, the security professionals. You know, like I said, the Black Hat and DEF CON crowd. A bunch of them are CIOs and CTOs that I know. So we're going to start rolling it out with them. I want to get feedback from 2 to 3 dozen people who really care about the problem, and then we'll expand.
So I'm assuming, like, I didn't, you listed a lot of features, right? I'm assuming they're not like day one. I could be wrong though. So
The only one that's not day one is conferencing. That's because the technical aspect of it, I have to build my own selective forwarding units because the existing SFUs, they rely on the ability to crack open the data stream and understand, the video bit rate and the audio bit rate and when to either recompress or go to different streams. So there's some infrastructure that I have to build up there. But besides conferencing, everything else will be there.
And I don't know, I've got lots more questions, but I just have one more. Here is the list. So you mentioned, like, you covered yourself and your background. What was your co-founder's background? Because I missed that.
Yeah, I was running out of time, so it's like I focused on myself. Someone will have something to say about that. So my co-founder, he's in charge of product design, branding, just the everything about what happens when the customer comes to find our company. So the website, white papers, all that kind of stuff. And we've worked together off and on for 20 years. We enjoy working with each other. We're really excited to be working together on our own thing.
Very cool. Thank you. My question revolves around, security, I think, was the most common word used in your presentation. Usable security is sort of an oxymoron, usually. So what we mean by that is the more secure something is, the less usable it is. If your money's in a bank vault, it's hard to get in or out, right? If it's out in your pocket, it's really easy to use, but it's not secure, right?
Yes.
So I know you had a little chart and it was very secure, and then you also mentioned that all the keys were held on client devices, right? Okay, I heard all that. But in a business, I want to know typically what people are talking about. I want to be able to audit what they've been talking about. So can you reconcile that for me? And
yeah, great questions. So the way the protocol works is the clients generate their own public and private key pairs. The public key has to be put on some shared location somewhere so that other clients can initiate that conversation, right?
Okay.
So the setting up a group conversation becomes easy because of that. The company, it's the answer to the second part of your question is the same way that we deliver the compliance features. So if your company requires it, and then we call them monitored conversations. So when anyone on the system creates a conversation, whether it's one-on-one or group conversation, we inject a monitoring client. That monitoring client lives at the company level. And so those keys would obviously belong to the company.
Yeah.
But it gets created and injected into every conversation. So that's how we can tap into things, save conversations for e-discovery, and call recording.
And if an employee loses their device, it's a new one. Is there chat history?
So with the enterprise version, yes. So all that chat history will be saved on your if you have a private, if you just got it for yourself, you can pay for our backup service. Or if you have multiple devices, we'll actually send an encrypted side channel to your other device to ask for the history.
Okay. Well, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for one audience question, and it's coming from Slack.
Yes, our
Ironically.
Chris Gonzalez. So it's What kind of features would the local AI provide users, and how limited in capabilities are they compared to top-of-the-line LLMs?
So the question was about we talked about how the free version would have some limited AI capabilities, so how limited is that? The local small language models are good at things like sentiment analysis, summarization, things like that. So it can look at a history, like an entire thread, and help summarize, what's going on in that thread, so you don't have to read the whole thing. So it's features like that. Also to tell you if, let's say you've been ignoring a thread for a while, because part of our productivity features is being able to manage stuff, put it away, say, I'm going to get to this tomorrow. But what if all of a sudden a bunch of activity starts happening and someone's mad about something? The local AI can look at that sentiment and go, hey, someone's angry on this thread. Maybe you should look at this. So that's what we're using on the local language, the small language models for.
All right, everybody give round of applause. All right, that was good. We got your next presenter is talking about a company that is revolutionizing rapid application development with its powerful low-code platform. Please welcome Alex Sherman.
Hello, thank you for letting me present today. I actually put this pitch deck together in only 2 days, but I've been working on Wizards Toolkit for 15 years. Wizards Toolkit is a low-code development library, PHP, SQL, and JavaScript. Now, we all know that the need for speed, the faster you get to market, the better. But no code has been really popular for the last couple of years, but it has some major flaws. It's on a server that's shared by everybody else, and if you want something customized, it just can't be done. Because if they do your custom modification, it could break 10,000 other customers' websites. So when you hit that part where you're talking to a brand new client in Germany and they say, hey, we will give you $1 million contract if you do this one little thing, and you can't do it because you're on a no-code platform, you need to scrap your whole thing and start from scratch using low-code or something else. So I'm not a fan of no-code. All right, the solution is a low-code environment, and I think the Wizards Toolkit provides the best low-code environment because it has a SQL database, PHP, and JavaScript library with integrated Chart.js for charting. Developers love it because they can download the Docker from Docker Hub and within 2 minutes have an entire environment on their local computer. Another thing you can't do on no code because you have to do everything on their servers. If they don't like Docker, they can pull it down from Git, and with MAMP, LAMP, or WAMP, they have an entire environment with MySQL or PostgreSQL, their preference, and all the initial data. Because I've been doing this for 15 years for a lot of different clients. I noticed that every client needs the same things. They need a data list of states and the state acronym. They need a user data table. They need a registration page for users, a forgot password. They need email capability. Some need bulk emailing. So I've been doing this over and over again, and then I decided, let's commercialize this and make it a single library that has all of this, which is extremely great for startups, but also works really well for larger companies that, like with Zen Framework, I've had 2 clients that have had me migrate them away from Zen Framework to Wizards Toolkit because it was faster than modifying their current environment. Wizards Toolkit also comes with widget dashboard management. We start you off with a DevOps dashboard, a marketing dashboard, SQL report wizards, and revenue analytic reporting because everybody needs revenue analytics. Here's a competitor analysis. I won't go into a whole lot of detail because we don't have much time, but basically most of them don't have any database whatsoever, and a lot of them, their charting requires a lot of extra work to get it to work. The market size. 70% of all websites in the world are PHP. 60% of those PHP websites are data-driven. I only want to include from the USA, Canada, UK, and Australia to keep it to English-based to begin with. Of course, it will work with multiple languages. That brings us to a TAM, or total addressable market, of 32 million, and a service obtainable market of 100,000 to 200,000 websites. That's basically 1% to 2%. The revenue structure. The primary revenue stream is subscription-based. You're looking at $480 a year. The competition is $500 to $760 a year. And there's not much competition. And they don't have a lot of database aspects. Estimated retention, 80%. Why? Because once somebody puts a year of development into their website, they don't want to have to scrap it and switch to a different one. When I worked with these two other companies that had Zend frameworks, they had been stuck in Zend framework for 15 years and 18 years respectively. So once they're in, they're probably going to stick with you for many, many years. Training and contract work is good supplementary income. Publicity and promotion. We will be awarding one-year subscriptions for web competitions because if they get it free for a year, it costs us absolutely nothing. We're not doing the hosting. They're hosting it on their own website. So it has zero cost to us. And at the end of the year, they're probably going to renew it, which means giving them a one-year free subscription makes us $480 next year and every year thereafter. Affiliates. I think our biggest marketing is going to be by approaching other software development companies and website development companies and telling them, you're marketing, but you're not pushing the low-code aspect, because most of them are not. Tell them you can be pushing low-code, say that you're a Wizards Toolkit developer, and we'll give you a 50% commission on the first year's sales, and you can increase the client value immediately. And then we show them all the cool features and analytic reports that they get free with Wizards Toolkit. Potential revenue. I went very conservative. If we only get 1,000 subscriptions in the first year, you're looking at 240,000, 352,000 if you include training and contracting. And personally, when I've been selling this, I've had a lot of clients say that they want to hire me to do contract work to help them with it or to train their staff. Second year, 2,000 subs, see a 20% attrition on the first year subs, and third, fourth, fifth. By the end of the fifth year, $6.9 million in annual subscriptions. Meet the team, me. I've been doing this since 2009. I started this, and I've implemented it for 4 companies. I've used it for many companies. 4 companies successfully are doing well. 2 of them are making $2.5 million to $18 million annually using the Wizards Toolkit as their websites. Lightning Joyce, he's a UI guy, mobile app developer, has cybersecurity. He's won more contests than I have time to describe. He previously worked at both Intel and Tencent. Galaxy, she previously worked at Intel. She's the SEO, ASO, data analyst and market research. In her previous task, she helped market an app, got 60,000 users subscribed, and 20,000 of them were paid users. So I'm really looking forward to her helping me with the marketing. I'm looking for 250,000 stake, and almost all of it's going to go towards marketing. We're going to do a little enhancements on the e-commerce integration. We already do integration with Stripe, Checkout.com, and PayPal, but it's not robust enough. I'd like to make it robust and do documentation and video tutorials. We have 11 videos already up on tutorials and documentation, but I'd like to do some more on the e-commerce aspects because I think that would be a really good marketing push. Any questions? It is 7 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great presentation. Thank you for putting it together. So could you so I saw I think it's at 59 tables in your database, something like that. So does that map sort of directly into 59 different things that you're opinionated about in your framework, and then anything other than that it would be up to the end user to develop that themselves?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And such as, I have a table for affiliates, one for prospects, one for clients. But a lot of the tables are more basic, like a widget table,
Mhm.
where you define your widgets. And then there's a widget group table. So you can say, okay, this group of widgets is for DevOps. This group is for marketing. This is for management. This is for the customer service department.
Yeah.
Then you create all your different widgets, and then you assign them to that, which requires a third table, a widget group by widget table, a many-to-many table. You know, and so that's a third table. The back office allows you to manage this without having to do any coding because it's already done for you as the back office. And I wish I had some screenshots of it, but basically, if you know
Like a
any
PHP
SQL,
MyAdmin?
yeah, like PHP MyAdmin.
Okay.
So if you know any SQL at all, you write your little SQL statement saying, select count from clients where state California,
Right.
and now you have a widget for how many clients do I have in California. And then you just assign that widget to the marketing dashboard, and there you go.
Okay, so the type of person that would effectively use the wizard toolkit is someone that has a basic understanding of SQL.
It would be, basically, I expect it's going to be a client that says, I have a SQL person and a PHP person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have some staff,
They have some staff.
and they just want to get a little further along from their no-code environment, perhaps, or
Yes, yeah. This is not it's not a Wix.
okay.
It's not a Squarespace. No, it's not a WordPress.
Mhm.
No, this is for, one of my clients did plumbing and electrical work for Nike. Okay, they're a vendor management company. Okay, Nike calls them and says, I have a plumbing problem, install 3 in this store.
Sure.
And my database tracks which store, which Nike, who's the manager, who's the best plumber to fix this. We got 16 plumbers in the area. Who are we going to dispatch it to? And then we have staff who log in, and we have a mobile app so the plumber can see where it is and direct to it. Wizard's Toolkit makes making those pages and the mobile app very easy. It's not going to give you a product. It's going to help you make a product for whatever you need.
Okay.
Can you go back to the financial slide?
Sure.
All right, so looking at this, I mean, this doesn't seem like a venture business. This looks like a cash flow business, which is fine. That's totally fine. I just pointing that out. So when I'm looking at like the number of websites that you had in your song and the amount that you're charging, I would imagine that like there's probably hopefully a way for you to scale faster. But tell me how you think. Like you said, this was conservative. What's not conservative? What do you think you can do if you got the $250K based on your experience?
It's a good question. It's a good question. I'm extremely confident with the product because I've used it and it's working for several clients in a production environment. What I need help with, or what I'm starting on now, is the marketing. And I'm trying to find the ideal way to find other people to market for me. And I think that the affiliate plan is going to work, but previously I tried marketing to PHP developers, and guess what they told me? We'll use whatever the client tells me to. We don't care. We'll use whatever tool the client tells me to. So I realized I shouldn't be marketing to PHP programmers. I shouldn't be marketing to SQL programmers because they're going to say whatever the boss wants. So I need to either be marketing to the clients, which I don't think is the right market, because they're going to say, what's low code? I think what I need to do is market to the software development companies and the web development companies to say, look, you're already spending 30 hours a week out there marketing and trying to sell stuff. Let me help you sell. This will help you sell. So, to be honest, right now that's my speculation. I don't have proof. I have one demo prepared for next week that I got off of LinkedIn by DMing 5 people, and one said, yes, I'll see a demo. I'd love to see it. And he has a software consulting company. So I'm just at the very beginning. The question is, will that work? Is that the right marketing avenue? Or do I need to find a different marketing avenue?
Thank you. That's color. As far as the team, usually at this stage, it's usually about mitigation of risk for an investor. Have you raised money before? Have you had an exit? Have you sold the company?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't raised any money before. I haven't made an exit. I told all my clients, hey, I'm working on this software development library. I will use it for you. But anything that I make that is global and can be put in the core library, I can and I'm allowed to. And I made them sign that. And so they're paying me $100 an hour. I build an internal messaging system. And then if I like it well enough to put it in the core, I'll spend an extra weekend migrating it to the core library. If I think it's, not enough people will like the internal messaging, then I won't migrate it in. So that's been my methodology. And meanwhile, I'm getting paid contractor hours to build it or to enhance it. So I'm okay.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Hey, I know we spoke on Wednesday at the other event, but I wanted to piggyback on what John just said in terms of it not being a venture scale outcome. I think if you're looking for investors, and obviously you just built this like a day ago, so like congrats on that, that's amazing. I think my tip would be if you pitch to investors to make it more appealing for them, right? And that goes back to the conversation we had the other day of like different investors are looking for different outcomes. And if the math doesn't make sense for them, then the investment doesn't make sense for them, right?
Right.
I think that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, it's great that you've used it with clients. I think that's awesome because a lot of times founders will build products and no one has used it. And so it's like, who is this for? But I think there needs to be a little bit more customer discovery and knowledge around who are the easiest, who's the low hanging fruit here, right? And you kind of, you said a few things that make me think you're on the right path of figuring that out. And this is obviously very early stages. But I think figuring out like, okay, my beachhead market is plumbers and that's it. I'm just gonna call every plumbing company in America and see if this is the thing. Or maybe it's, any blue collar type of whatever. I think that would be really helpful to know because there's a lot of great technology out there. It's also a very competitive space, whether it's low code or no code or whatever, any way to build whatever you're trying to build. So knowing who your demographic is and who the low-hanging fruit is that can get you that, I think would be really helpful.
Good, thank you.
Great presentation. I do have a question. So if I already have a site and maybe it's WordPress, maybe it's Shopify, Wix, now what? Does it do a complete rebuild with your tools, or is there integrating that in somehow? Can I use it to augment from there?
Great question. Great question. And frankly, I've had a couple people ask me about Wix, and I don't want to get involved because Wix is a monster in and of itself, and it would be a very complicated project. In Shopify, that's a little easier regarding the database aspects. But in general, the Wix market and the Shopify market probably are not my target, to be blunt. Whereas if somebody says, hey, I have a database that I love my database, I love my data, but it's been running fine for 5 years or 10 years or whatever, and I don't want to lose my database, can we use Wizard's Toolkit? The answer is absolutely yes. In fact, if Wix or Square or any of the others would allow you to have outside data access, then yes, no problem whatsoever. You could easily build a back office with Wizard's Toolkit to give you full access to your data, to be able to view it in different analytics and different manipulations. Piece of cake. And even if you wanted to use your own database, say you have your own user table and you don't want to use the user table that's included, piece of cake. It's called a SQL view. And what you do is you make a SQL view, which you define as the Wizard's Toolkit framework. Say you use first name in Wizard's Toolkit is first name. Okay. If in your data table is first underscore name or last name is surname, then with a view, you say define surname as last name, define first underscore name as first name. And then Wizard's Toolkit would work without you having to do any other modifications whatsoever. You just spend half an hour making a good SQL view and everything still works.
Okay.
Did that answer the question?
It does. I think you have a challenge here. And so the challenge is that for you to have anywhere near that addressable market, you need to be a retail tool. And that's where the world is moving. That's why Wix is moving there. That's why GoDaddy has their services. ChatGPT is helping people code websites. And so I think not targeting the end consumer is probably going to be a challenge. Two, then that puts you in the B2B SaaS category, right? So now you're software as a service and you're going to go out and sell it. However, you're going to go out and sell it to an agency that's going to buy, one license? And then you're hoping that maybe they will then go sell it to 10 more people. And so now you're going to have to handhold them, where normal B2B SaaS, right? Like you're going to walk into a corporation, you're going to sell them 5,000 licenses, 500 licenses, 100 licenses right off the bat. I don't think you're going to go to a web builder and sell them, a package of a bunch of licenses that then they're going to sit on inventory and try to then go out and sell them. So I think when you reverse this back to that B2B model, you're going to have to figure out how to sell a lot of licenses, because the highest conversion cost in all conversions is a B2B SaaS sale. But the reason it's so high is the payoff is high. But it's not high if you're selling to an agency that may or may not go sell more licenses on an affiliate basis, right? So I think you need to maybe think that through, to maybe make this more simple to be an end user product, or figure out if you're going to start selling these licenses and you're going to have that high conversion cost to sell them, you need to sell a lot of licenses at one time and not have to, you want to sell a year-long contract, not then go back and hold everyone's hands and hope that they're still not just doing whatever the client wants, as you just suggested earlier. Because maybe you get this guy, but then someone wants a Shopify, they want a Wix, and they sell that anyways. So that, I think, is going to be really the addressable market problem that you need to solve before it then gets to a venture backable product.
And right now, the subscription base is based on domain name, which, you're right, doesn't scale well. A website that's making $1,000 a month pays the same subscription fee as a website that's making $200,000 a month, because it's based on domain. What I've seen is a lot of clients, they are serial entrepreneurs, and once they start one website, they say, hey, I have an idea for another website and another website, in which case, next thing you know, they have 3 different domains, and that's 3 different licenses. But you're right, it's not tapping into the big enterprise. That's something I definitely need to look into. Absolutely.
Great job.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions. We'll only be able to answer 2. So the first step is, how do you compare to modern no-code solutions like Retool that offer many integrations, including but not limited to many different database types, AI-powered features, etc.?
Great question. I'm not super familiar with Retool, so I can't give a really detailed answer, a point-per-point answer. I can say that with Wizard's Toolkit is OOP, or object-oriented programming, so it expands extremely well and easily. So if you're working with it and you want to enhance it or change it for HTMX or Tailwind CSS, it would be like a 1-week project, and you have that brand new UI or brand new interface aspects that you wanted with very little effort. I don't know if Retool has it or not, so I really can't answer in more detail. I will say that we're using PDO, which is PHP data objects. So although right now I only declare that it's working 100% with MySQL and Postgres, that's because that's what I've used it for paying clients. But with PDO, theoretically, it will work equally well with Firebase, Microsoft SQL, or anything else. So I expect that, with 3 days of stress testing, I can say, yes, it works with Firebase. Yes, it works with Microsoft SQL 2000, whatever.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. We have one more presenter tonight, and this company is innovating post-hospital care to minimize hospital readmissions. So make your way up here, Ephraim. Come on, everybody.
Well, thank you very much for giving up your night. We could be watching Mike and Jake do whatever they're doing right now to come see us. My name is Ephraim. I'm the CEO and founder of Utano. So 140 million people every year in the United States end up in the ER. And of those, 18 million end up getting admitted to the hospital. We have a shortage of beds, about 25,000 every single day. And of the 6,100 hospitals across the United States, we have about 162 patients every single day that are getting discharged from the hospital. And of those, 30% end up coming right back to the ER for the same condition that they were admitted for in the first place. The impact on the hospitals is huge. We're holding back 3% of reimbursements. 97% of the hospitals across the United States have been fined up to $3 billion. That means almost every hospital in the United States has no idea how to fix this problem. They're spending $42 billion in uncompensated care, which we can pretty much go right back to where the problem is: underinsured and uninsured patients who end up coming to the ER and use it as their primary care, right? Quality metrics and reputation, very important in healthcare. Nobody wants to go to a hospital who's going to give a hospital that has a crowded ER a 5-star rating. But patients who I think are on the hook for the biggest part, healthcare consequences. Anybody who goes to the hospital multiple times is going to be sicker every single time they go to the hospital. The risk of getting sicker is multiplied every single time they go in the hospital because these are dirty places. Financially, not only does it cost about $13,000 for one hospital stay, we're talking 4.5 days in the hospital, but every time you come back, you're a much sicker patient than you were before, and it's going to cost you an additional $1,800 per day. Now, that's not adding all the other stuff where there's loss of income because you have been in the hospital for a few days, or your quality of life from being sick for so long. On the other hand, we have payers, the people that are actually paying the bill if you have insurance. CMS has been paying to the tune of $26 billion annually on readmissions. And then we have administrative burden. Every time there's a readmission or any process of a claim, obviously somebody has to manage that. So this is a very costly problem for the three parties at hand here. Now, before we talk about the solution, let's talk about how it works right now. So currently, if you are the 4 patients, and that's 3 patients and 1 doctor here, you're leaving the hospital with a lacerated finger. We're going to say, here's a list of doctors for you to call. Here's a list of doctors for you to call. Here's a list of doctors for you to call. And this is Dr. Michael here. Now, each one of those patients needs to call that one doctor. Now, at scale, can you see how there's no chance that all 3 patients can get in to see that doctor in, say, 2 days or 3 days or 4 days? So what typically happens, regardless of their effort of trying to get back to their normal life and seeing the doctor on the outside, they end up coming back to the hospital because that's the only place where they can actually get care. This is a real problem, right? So what do? Utano is a system that allows patients who are coming into the hospital. First, they sign into our system after they're on board. At the time of discharge, instead of going through this whole thing that we talked about here, the person who's discharging the patient just clicks on one thing that is the most important thing for any patient that's leaving the hospital. That's the primary diagnosis, why they came to the hospital. If it's a diagnosis that requires them to be seen within, say, 2 or 3 days, to get their meds looked at and all the other stuff, our algorithm looks and sees all the doctors that are available to see that patient in that period of time. Instead of depending on just this one doctor who may be the preferred doctor at 5 or 6 hospitals and is inundated with work, Now we're reaching into a network of many doctors around the valley, some who are paying thousands of dollars to try and get new patients. Now they can be a part of the solution. Now, the more important thing here is that for the first time in the industry, hospitals now have the ability to track what happens to their patients when they leave the hospital. They can see that my patient left today and they saw the provider on this day, or they just chose not to go to the doctor altogether. So they can actually see cause, what's going on with the patients. Is it transportation problems? Why are they coming back to the clinic? Or is it because the clinicians we're sending them to are just not that good and the patients are coming back? That is the first in the industry. We have a total addressable market of 6,100 hospitals in the United States, about 1 million doctors or so. And out of those, based on our revenue structure, that's about $4.5 billion. Our serviceable addressable market, we're looking at Nevada, California, Arizona, and Utah. That's about 606 million. But with the 3 hospitals that have signed up with us so far, we're looking at a serviceable obtainable market of about $60 million. Our business model is SaaS. We charge anywhere between $50,000 to $325,000, depending on the number of beds per hospital, and our providers pay us $300 a month. So far, we have 1 hospital group in the Valley that has signed a $270,000 contract with us to have our service in their three hospitals, and then expand it to some of the other facilities in the Valley. Our competition are busy right now trying to get people to learn Power BI so that they can learn what's happening with the patients and figure out which patients are at the highest risk of getting readmitted. What we chose to do is different. Research has shown that when a patient has an appointment before they leave the hospital, the chances of returning to the hospital, again, goes down by 50%. Our marketing strategy is really easy. Start with what we already have. We have 3 hospitals here. We're going to grow that, including the providers that we already have on our platform. Onboard more providers on our platform, 13 per hospital, and then reach out to our new partner, Dignity Health Physician Group, to expand our network. Our team is myself. I hold degrees in computer science. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I still practice this day. And I have owned a few businesses in my life. This is my team, myself, my co-founders. Scott is a neurologist, our chief technology officer, and our chief medical officer, Bina. That is our path to growth. I'm sure you folks will be asking about that. I'll expand on that in a little bit. Our ask, $1.5 million. We need to hire geeks to create an enterprise product. And at the same time, we need to start filling up the funnel with other hospitals so that we can start growing. We're $75,000 into our current raise. And some of the things that people have said about us. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I was lost for a minute, and then I turned into Mr. Wonderful for a second when you said $270,000. Can we go back to this hospital that's signed up and paying you? I'm trying to understand how many people where it's not an insurance problem, right? So if they're going to the ER and they have no insurance, that's why they're going to the ER, because that's who's going to primarily help them right away. So outside, if we were to remove that, and I were to try to say, if I'm a regular person coming to the hospital with insurance, how many of those people are not then seeing a doctor within a couple of weeks if they have a serious issue that they're coming back to the ER again?
Okay.
And like, and what type of problems? It's like I cut my finger off, they sew it back on, I don't come back, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So the problem is really it's really at the core of the inefficiency of the healthcare system, right? So with or without insurance, this problem will happen. You leave the hospital with, say, COPD was your terminal diagnosis. With COPD, we expect you to be seen within 3 days by somebody who can review your meds, make sure that everything is okay. Because if you're not seen within those 3 days, the likelihood that you miss your meds and something really bad happens and you come back to the hospital is very, very high. But even a young person who goes and gets a laceration on a finger, for example, if you don't get the bandage and the sutures taken out in time, and that finger gets septic, you're still gonna come back to the ER. The problem is the logistics of connecting patients with healthcare providers. So the same inefficiency I was trying to explain here, where we have one list of providers in the ER where we're connecting all the patients, and patients can't get in with those doctors. And yet somewhere in the valley, there's a doctor somewhere who's like, give me patients. And they're doing all kinds of stuff, giving donuts to people just to get patients in. We are doing just that one thing where we say, we're connecting you with somebody who can see you within those 3 or 4 days so that you can get your care taken care of.
But I feel like that doctor's probably outside of people's insurance networks, and that's why they're not going to see them.
So that's another interesting thing that we thought when we started talking to this group. Hospitals, including this particular hospital, will actually pay for the care of the patient out of their own pocket, because it costs them less to have that patient be taken care of outside than have them come back to the hospital, either getting fined or having that patient hold a bed that could be taken by a patient who actually pays using insurance. So hospitals are looking at this and going, any solution, we'll pay for it if we have to, which is really interesting.
So would they offload them straight out of the ER, maybe without even seeing them into this, using your software? Like maybe prioritize them that, hey, you don't need to be seen today. You don't have palpitations in your chest or whatever, and just automatically refer them out. And then that would sort of alleviate the pressure on the ER.
Correct. The optimum situation is that every patient that leaves the hospital with a diagnosis that requires a follow-up is seen. That's the optimum.
Okay.
The next best thing is that every patient that leaves the hospital has an appointment with somebody for follow-up. The challenge is that regardless of whether you try or not, patients are they're not even getting the appointment, let alone an appointment that's set up and confirmed. So it's left to the patient to try and figure it out themselves at a time when they're so sick that they can't even figure out how to get back home. So that's the challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And I've lived in 4 countries, and 3 of them had universal health care. I'll let you guess the problem. What the heck is going on? I'm very confused generally,
Sure.
the healthcare system. But also, it just seems like the ER is lazy, right?
No, not quite.
Why don't they have a list of every provider?
Yeah, so I think some of this is the way it's always been done. Physicians and clinicians come and market to hospitals, right? As, hey, could I have your business from the ER? We never update that list. So I have worked in the ER 3-4 years of my life, and it's the same list that we've had for probably 10 years. So until another person comes in and says, hey, could you can you send patients my way? And sometimes it's a verbal thing that's going on between two people. There's no technology that connects patients that are leaving the hospital, and hospitals have no incentive to send patients to any specific provider. They just send it to whatever is the most convenient. Otherwise, they're just hoping that the patient can figure it out themselves. And as a healthcare provider, it's difficult for me to even figure it out. I have friends in every specialty on the planet, and it's even difficult for me. So the challenge is really hard. It's a big challenge.
Yeah, interesting. So then you guys would have to have every single provider on your platform. You have to have all their up-to-date availability. So do those providers put that in?
Yeah, so the last time I was on this stage, I was pitching my company Hutano, which does exactly that, which is the logistics of having providers who are out there waiting for patients to come in. So our platform, we're just basically piggybacking onto the same platform where providers are available, we can see their calendar, and you can just book an appointment. Now we're matching them by the very basic criteria that we need to make that patient successful. Do they take the insurance? Are they available within that time frame? Do they live close to the patient? Do they offer telemedicine, or do they come to the patient, so that we can take care of all the friction points for the patient to not show up at the provider's clinic.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh my God, Steve, this sounds like a hard problem.
So I think I remember your last pitch. I think it was here. So, okay. just so I understand, so you got Dignity Health to give you a check for over 200K.
Sure.
Okay. And they have 217 hospitals last I checked.
They're part of 140 hospitals in throughout the U.S.
Okay.
The common spirit, yes.
All right, and they valued what you were offering enough to pay you. Why not just make a really good customer and then go to other hospitals?
Yeah, so that's really why we're here. We figured one thing was really important. I think at the end of my my last cycle, fundraising cycle, if you can fund a company by getting money from a patient, that's always a customer. That's always the best way.
Yeah.
So we were able to add value to their current discharge process by saying we can create this platform that helps you get your patients streamlined out, and then you can figure out what's going on with the patient so that you can come up with real solutions. Our agreement is we're going to pilot it in a place where this company is based in Las Vegas, so the 3 hospitals here. Conversations are, as soon as we get it nailed down here, the Arizona market is also managed by some of the same leaders that are in this market. And then in addition to that, there are micro hospitals around, Dignity Health micro hospitals, same problem. And they also have 19 physical therapy clinics around the valley, which they would hope that we can service as well. And then they have 1 acute rehab facility. So the market is pretty huge for us in terms of just that one customer. But we anticipate that whatever problems we solve for Dignity Health, there might be slight variations. For example, if we went to a UMC or a Valley Health system. So we're going to, for the next 5 or 6 years, we're going to be tweaking the platform in some ways, but we'll get to a point where it's applicable to 90% of the hospitals, and we can just walk in and sell it as it is with very minor tweaks for the next customers to come in.
Okay, and then you're getting a list of hospitals from, or not hospital, list of doctors from the Board of Medical.
Yeah, the medical board.
So
Yeah,
you're pulling it from. All right,
correct.
So you could do that in any state, right?
Correct.
All right, so you're not really limited here. You're just starting off here. So that's something that Dignity might have talked to you about, or you might have talked to them about.
Yeah. So if I understand your question correctly, the providers that we are bringing in to service these particular patients, we've actually made a calculation that it takes 13 providers for each hospital if it's true that there's about 162 patients being discharged every single day. That's what it would take for us to service those 30 minutes for every patient that leaves and a follow-up for every one of them. Our strategy is to just recruit 13 that we just say, hey, you want to start a new practice? We got a resource for you to fill your schedule from the hospital. Don't bother doing any other marketing. You're good to go. So we can grow that way on the provider side. And then on the hospital side, we just know that for every hospital we sign up, we need about 13 providers to make it work.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the traction.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a two-sided marketplace, but you have one side, fairly locked up if you can keep this customer happy, the hospital chain.
Right.
On the other side, I want to piggyback off of John's thing here. How are you recruiting these 13 providers per hospital?
Yeah, so
how are you thinking about that?
I think it's going to be fairly easy. So there's a group of physicians called hospitalists. Hospitalists are physicians that are in a hospital taking care of you while you're in the hospital. And then they're also responsible for discharging you and making sure that whatever discharge plan they have is going to stick and you're not going to come back to the hospital. Typically, all those folks are capable and are willing to do telemedicine on any patient. So I think they're just the low-hanging fruit for us. That's why Dr. Awaji, one of our team members, is a good fit because that's what he does day in and day out. He's kind of explored that market quite a bit. The second part of it is there are so many providers that are coming out of school now, whether it's UNLV, UNR, that are trying to start a new practice. And the biggest cost in starting a new practice is marketing, trying to find new patients.
Yeah.
And our approach is really
It's the biggest
simple.
cost in almost any business.
Yeah. So for us, I mean, we're coming in and just saying for $300 a month, it's going to cost you $2,000 to get just SEO optimization on your website. You can plug into a system that even if you got one patient and that patient became a patient for the next 10 years, you've made your money, right? So we think it's going to be an easy one for us to sell.
Are these practices just like general, like family practice? Like,
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
this isn't like a list of specialties or specialty?
No. When patients leave the hospital, they really just need
Yeah.
a
Okay,
primary
I
care
understand that
physician,
much
yeah.
better now, like, and I'll piggyback on Michael's thing. That I've noticed, even if people have insurance, I've had insurance my whole career, thank God, but I can't tell you who my doctor is,
Very
I
true.
think there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah,
right?
no,
So
I
if you
think.
get given a list and you're trying to go down the list to find someone to see, I'll give up, right? Or
Yeah.
people might give up.
But the provider's paying it as well?
Yes, we're double dipping.
Yeah.
But are these two separate companies that you pitched last year, the marketplace and then this one?
It's the same company.
It's the same.
It's the same company,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So our go-to-market in our previous pitch was go find a bunch of doctors and go find a bunch of patients.
Right.
Yeah.
Very expensive to create that.
Right.
And then we fell into this nice little situation where literally we don't even have to find the patients. The
Because
hospital
you have
is
the client.
feeding them for
Yeah,
us.
Right.
And then for the doctors, the previous issue was, well, where am I gonna get the patients? Now we can just say, you know what, they're coming, there's about 160 coming in every day, you should be okay.
Start taking commissions too.
There you go. So it's gotten a little easier for us to get to market with this kind of setup.
Yeah, it's very exciting, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, appreciate it.
So we do have a couple of audience questions here. One question goes, do you see yourself just scaling into telemed service once the hospital's on board your user?
Yeah, so we already have a telemedicine platform. So our core platform has in-home service, telemedicine, and in-clinic service. So we have a platform that basically takes care of all that. So to answer the question, yes, they will be using our telemedicine platform.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's give another round of applause for our presenters and our panelists. This is the official end of our program tonight, so make sure you talk amongst yourselves, grab some pizza, snacks, and all sorts of things, and look forward to seeing you either Tuesday, if you're looking to scale up your business at Scale Up, Tuesday at 6 p.m., and next month, we're doing, remember, the CES, Level Up at CES. So that's a different date, time, and location, historic 5th Street School.
It's in January.
Yes. So again, make sure you save that date. And thank you. Have a great evening.
Yeah.